welcome to the United States, and we are happy for you. They were like so nice. They just like when we heard this one, like we were like feel happy and confident. Okay, that's like nice people, and they will help us. Yeah, it's so good.
Hi, and welcome to Season 2 of the Wartime Allies podcast. I'm your host, Matt Zeller. In Season 1, we told you all about the Afghan and Iraqi wartime allies who have stood and served with our nation shoulder to shoulder for the last 2 decades. You heard from those who have attempted to make it to the United States, but have only gotten as far as being a refugee in Europe or in India. You heard from folks who are currently left behind in Afghanistan. In Season 2, we're going to be telling you about the folks who have actually made it here to the United States, who are currently arriving in the evacuation flights that are taking place as part of Operation Allies Refuge. We're unfortunately also going to be talking to some folks who are now left behind inside Taliban-held territory in Afghanistan. As I told you at the beginning of Season 1, this is an ongoing mission. We do not know how it will end. We hope and fervently pray that the United States will rise to the occasion and summon the courage and conviction to do what is necessary to save these people. But thus far, we just simply haven't done it. I don't know if you can see on my face or hear my voice, but today has been a very difficult day. It's August 12th. As I record this, the Taliban are on the march across Afghanistan, and we are in real time losing our wartime allies. We'll get to all that, however, at the end of the podcast. For now, let's tell a happy story. Let's start off Season 2 on a positive note, because while the Taliban are on the march, there are, however, Afghans arriving now daily in the United States via evacuation flights. And today on the podcast, we have our very first evacuee who's come on one of these flights. His name is Usman, and he has only been in the United States for a couple of days, and for a change, you're finally going to hear somebody with relief in their voice. What we hope is that we can now replicate for Usman this experience for the remaining 86,000 or so Afghan wartime allies who remain left behind. So with that, let's get to our interview. And we hope you finally enjoy hearing from somebody who, for once, is actually in a good situation. I am honored today to have our first guest who was on one of the relocation flights. He has literally been in the United States for a grand total of about 3 days. He just left Afghanistan. These are the evacuation flights that are part of Operation Allies Refuge. He did not go to Fort Lee. He's one of the very first people that issued something called an e-visa, an electronic visa, which meant that once he landed in the United States, he had a special immigration visa. It was issued to him. He didn't have to go to Fort Lee to do medical. He could choose his final destination. And so he's actually talking to us live from Dallas, Texas, which is, I guess, where he selected his home. And we're going to ask him why he chose to go there. His name is Usman. He served for 4 years as an interpreter for our special forces in Afghanistan. And like I said, he literally just got here. So Usman, it's an honor to have you with us on the Wartime Allies podcast. Thanks for joining.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time.
I want to start off by asking, you've been here for 72 hours. What are you going through? I mean, can you walk us through just what you're feeling right now, now that you're in Texas, what seems to be your final destination? What does it feel like to finally be in the United States?
Yes, sir. When I came here, they already took a house for us here, the IRC. And we are here since 2 days, for 2 nights, and everything is here fine. And so I have everything here, everything I need is here. And I have talked to the ARC guys yesterday, and they said we will help you. Like they will come today to meet me, and yeah, everything is good here.
That's wonderful. How are you feeling emotionally? You're finally out of Afghanistan. Do you feel a sense of relief? Do you feel safe?
Yes, I truly happy and safe. So everything's good.
Are you sleeping?
And yes, now I can sleep easy and happy and confident.
Good. Usman, tell us, you've just gone through a profound journey, and for our listeners, you're going to be the first person to ever share what that experience was like. So I'd really like to ask you some in-depth questions. Can you tell us, let's rewind the clock. Okay. Let's go back in time. And I'd like you to first tell us why, when did you first sign up to serve with US forces, and why did you do it?
So I signed in 2017 to start working with the U.S. Army and Special Force, because of to defend my country, to serve for my country, and to make our country development, in which girls, boys, women, men, everyone can access their rights, and girls can study, and everyone has the right to work, to speak, and defend their rights. Yeah.
You served for 4 years, so you literally just stopped serving this year. What was the end of your service like? It must have coincided with the US leaving. Is that correct?
Yes, because of the youth leaving. Yeah, because our end of our contract.
What was that like? Can you tell our audience, what was it like to see the Americans leave?
Sorry.
What was it? You were there in a really privileged moment. You got to see the end of the US military campaign in Afghanistan. You're one of the last interpreters to serve with US forces. What was it like to see the people you had been serving with for 4 years leave?
I could understand that. I understand the question, but I don't know how to answer this question. Can you ask me differently?
Sure. I guess, you worked with us for 4 years. The contract comes to an end. What were the emotions that you were feeling? How did you feel seeing the Americans depart?
Yeah, this was honestly, I was unhappy with this withdrawal of the U.S. Army, because when we in the contract, I was thinking I will be left behind here, and there was rescue camp there. I was living outside the Kabul, not in city Kabul. So I was not able to go barbershop and outside the city. I even into doctor, because I was thinking if I go out, I will be killed, because I work with the U.S. Army, and yeah, like 24 hours, I was thinking what will happen to us, what will happen to our life. And when they depart, when they start depart from Kabul, the security situation changed worse, so bad. Then yeah.
You've been staying. So the Americans left. How long ago was it when they left? Was it just a couple of months ago? Do you remember when it was this year when your base closed?
Yes, I know this. Our base closed around 8 months ago.
Yeah. So the base closes 8 months ago. You basically went into hiding for the last 8 months.
Yes, hiding.
Can you tell us what your day-to-day existence was like? What was it like being in hiding? You said you couldn't go to the barber shop, you couldn't go out for food. How did you spend your day? Did you, talking with family? Were you reading? Were you, worrying?
Yeah, so when I was hired, as a hired, not 100% hired, but when I was hiring, I was not able to go barbershop or medical. I went I was able to go for special thing my passport or my some stuff that I need to be there, but without that thing, I didn't go out. So I was at my home, my room, and just checking news, the situation, every day, what's going on, what will happen to us, what will happen to Afghanistan. So every day, every time I was busy with this stuff, and also with SIV thing, how we can, what will happen to SIV. So I also study computer. So I'm a computer science. So I was working in computer. That was thing I was busy with.
Yeah. So you're at home, you're trying to keep busy. It sounds like you're on the computer hitting refresh on your application page, hoping to see the magic issue, the magic words issued, right? Because that's what everybody's looking for, is visa status issued.
Yes.
What did it feel like so you learned recently then in the last couple of weeks that you had been selected for a relocation flight. What did it feel like to get that email? Can you take us through that, that moment? You're on your computer, you've just opened up your email and you see that you've got a message from the embassy saying you've been selected for a relocation flight. How did that feel?
Yeah, so I just want to say that, like, honestly, when I was at home, like that was 4 o'clock in the morning when I like wake up, because so our mind was like, my mind was busy with the email and checking visa status. Whenever I wake up in night or day, so first thing I was doing was the checking the email or my visa status, because of the situation there. So when I was wake up in the morning, like 4 o'clock, I just checked my email. I have received the relocation email, and that time I was like so happy. I didn't know how like was my feeling. So like so happy, and like just I was like reading 3 times, 4 times the email. Like, what is the here in the email? Because I was so happy. So yeah, it was so good time.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
So you get the relocation email. How long did you have before the flight? How many days?
Okay, so I 20 like I think 13 days.
13 days.
Yes.
So we've been told you're only allowed to bring a couple of bags and they've got to be under 50 kilograms and only be so large. So what did you put in your bags?
Uh, I brought a lot of stuff with myself, like including my documents, my pictures with the army, like my work history with them, certificates, and my computer. Yes, so more stuff.
But did you bring, any family heirlooms, like mementos, your favorite, piece of clothing from when you were a kid, or a musical instrument that was beloved, or, something like that. What else did you bring besides your document and your computers? What you presumably may never get to go back to Afghanistan again. So what did you bring of your homeland to,
Mm. Yeah, so I brought like some traditional clothes.
Mhm.
Yeah, and yeah, like some kitchen stuffs. Yeah, like for
The reason why I ask this is I think what you've done is remarkable.
Yeah,
You've moved across the other side of the planet to a brand new country and a brand new culture. And that is incredibly brave. It is beyond the bravery of your service to do what you've done now for you and your family, to leave everything that you knew behind and start a new life is incredibly brave. And I am fascinated by the idea that our country says you're only allowed to bring 2 bags to begin that life. And I always wonder, if I was faced with that choice, I don't know what I would put in my 2 bags. So I want to ask, when you were packing your bags, what did it feel like knowing you were saying goodbye to Afghanistan, presumably forever?
yeah, I think like whoever or I, so whenever we did call us to like bring that much bags or that much like size, so I think the firstly we think about our documents and our like clothes, like for like our kids or for my wife, like for myself. So the first thing we are thinking about this thing, and also uh, some like house furniture. I mean, like mattress. So yeah.
You're thinking about starting the new life. What are
Yeah.
you thinking about as you're packing it up, though? What did it feel like to have to say goodbye to Afghanistan and your whole life there, your family?
Yeah, I think the one thing, yeah, it was like sad when I like bye to my family, because I left my family because of the situation going on there. But the other side, I was so happy. Like, I'm going to United States and I will start my new life. I can study again. Like, I will have all like opportunity there. And if I stay here, I will be like die. I will be killed. So this is like, yeah, this is not like it's true. This is fact. It's true.
Your family that you left behind, are they Are they in Kabul? Are they? Oh, don't tell us where they are, but just tell us: are they in a safe place? Or are they in a bad place?
Unfortunately, they are not in the safe place.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you. You know, you've there came a moment when it was time to finally leave. You've said your goodbyes. What did that journey entail? What was it like? Can you take us through leaving your house to getting to the airport? You know, what that experience was like?
As I told you before, that was the experience was like one that has two sides. Like one side was sad, the one side was happy. Like happy. Yeah, when I start like to say goodbye, like everyone crying and yeah, because they leave me, like they will say bye with me, and also more like my family, my brothers, my father, my mother, they were so happy also for me because of the, like I will move to the United States because I will be safe. So they were happy, and also they were like sad for my like leaving the home or like leaving the country. So when yeah, just starting from home, like I got taxi and like couple guys from our families, they went with me to the airport, and we just start like bye bye and came here.
So you get to the airport. Is it your first time in an airport?
uh and the most, yes. No, the international one is yes.
Yeah.
Like,
So your first
yeah.
time flying international. Was it
Yes.
your wife? Was it your wife's first time on a plane?
Yes, with my wife, yeah.
Yeah. So you're waiting in the terminal. I have to imagine that has got to be a pretty happy crowd. People
Yeah,
meet.
of course. Yeah.
Are folks excited?
Yes.
It's a Qatar Airlines flight. You get on board the plane. First of all, what is it like inside the plane? No one is, again, you're the first person to tell a story of what it was like to be on one of these planes. So, you know, imagine it for you will if you wanted to describe it to your friends and family. Can you tell us what it was like inside the plane? You know, what did they serve you for food? What did you do for entertainment? What was the mood like? Did everybody applaud when they took off? You know, like these are all the things people want to know. Was it like to be on that flight to freedom?
Yeah, so we start like on board. That was so happy time, and there was like everything. The service as like food, like internet. There was Wi-Fi for like for a couple hours, and the staffs who was working in the airplane, they was like so good guys. They was like kind guys. They said like welcome, and we just start like with the. Uh, I had like headphone and just was looking in the mirror. I was next to the window. So, and then just looking to like the Kabul city, and I was thinking, yes, now I'm start, and I got the like the opportunity, and happy and good. Now going to United States. So yeah, it was so good. Everyone in the airplane, they were so good. They were happy, and yeah, like they said, oh, we know we are safe, and now we are going to United States. I think if you ask me, the like what was inside the airplane and like the our service. There was so good service and so kind people there, and yeah, everything was good. And whatever we needed, they said, "Okay, no problem, we will provide you."
What type of food did they serve you? What'd you guys eat?
We ate like rice, chicken, some vegetable, and yeah, like drink, Pepsi on it, drink,
Yeah.
water, Pepsi, and also was a uh, kind of ice cream, I think.
Ice cream. Yeah, sure. What'd you think? Pretty good food or?
Pretty good food, yeah. Pretty good food, and it was like close to our Afghan culture, you know, like in Afghanistan. Yeah, and it was everyone was like feel confident, like easy to eat this one and can use it.
What was it like seeing the ocean for the first time?
Yeah, that was so good. Like just I was looking like to the window for like 20 minutes or like 15 minutes, just or like seeing the watching the ocean or like river. Yes.
What was it like? I mean, you've never seen an ocean before.
Yes.
Yeah.
Does it, what was that? I mean, I've seen an ocean plenty of times, so I can't remember what it was like to see it for the first time, but you just saw one. So can you tell us what was it like seeing an ocean for the first time and, you know, looking out on all that big blue water? You come from a landlocked country, so I got to imagine it's a pretty different experience.
Yeah, it's pretty different experience, and like there was a long travel from Afghanistan to here. There was like 20-hour traveling, and there was like directly. Now we didn't have any like more time in the one stop. We just like start one stop in the country, then we start again back to the United States. So we didn't have any like more time to stay somewhere. So we
Sure.
just directly fly to the United States to Washington. So yeah, it was good, pretty good, and yeah, like the lights here or some of the other countries where we're coming, and yeah, the ocean, the rivers, it was pretty good, and yeah, this was too good experience.
Did you watch any movies on the plane?
Yes, I watched the one movie, but I couldn't like find their name. I forgot it, which was the movie.
So you land in the United States just a couple of days ago. You land at Dulles Airport, which is just up the road from where I live. I wish I had known. I would have liked to have met you. What was that experience like? What did it feel like? Well, actually, what did it feel like to land in the US knowing you had made it here? Did people applaud? Did did people clap? Was there a sigh of relief that you had? You were like, oh, kind of one of those.
Yes, like yeah, we really like landed here, and now I was like, I just think like, okay, now I'm good, like I'm safe now. I can go everywhere. If it's night or it's day or it doesn't matter, like what time is it. So now like safe and like happy. Everyone like the kids or the, like women and men, they were all happy and just like walking faster to bus. Like yeah, we're going to like maybe like final destination or Fort Lee anywhere. So everyone was happy. And
so you went through customs, and then they said, hey, you don't have to go to Fort Lee. You've got your visa. Why did you pick Dallas?
yeah, I think before I selected Dallas, Texas for as my home, yeah, I have a friend here, and I asked them about the how is the life here, and also I searched it in like in internet about the like job search, like jobs chances, like their like how is the salary here and how we can like spend money here. This was not expensive here. Is it like cheap? And yeah, their weather was good because yeah, I like it here because yeah, I saw the pictures and the most important reason is my friend here.
Sure.
So yeah, they can guide me, like they can give me information. How can we find job? Like live here, like confidently.
So what do you want to do? What are you looking for work?
Yeah, I start already like talking to my advisors. They're in different states in here in United States. They also said we will help you here to find job. I want to like find the IT job here.
Mm-hmm.
Work in IT. If I can, like maybe I will find like another job, office job firstly. Then I will start like try to find IT job. So the all my advisor, like American advisor, they said we will find you some jobs here in Dallas or Texas. We can help you.
These are the Americans you served with in Afghanistan,
yes,
are saying that they're gonna. So it's interesting. I love that in Afghanistan you took such great care of us, and now it's our turn to take such great care of you.
Yeah, they are like here in my advisor, they are like so good people. These so kind people. They were like in contact with me from Afghanistan as well. They are always asking me like, when you are coming here, what's going on with you? They were like all the time.
Are they going to come visit you?
Yes, like next month. And the one my advisor, he said I will like pick up you in the airport. He said.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I told him like, no, thank you so much for this, but they're like the other stuffs, they will pick up me and they're like procedures. So we will see, I will see you another time. So now I'm good. Thank you so much for.
What was your first meal in the United States? Do you remember what the first thing you ate was when you got here?
Okay, so first meal in the United, I went to like from the airport, we went to the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we eat, I think, eggs and some like food, like fast food.
Yep.
Yeah, and tea. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Because that was early morning, I think. It's early morning.
Early morning breakfast. Sounds like you had like a hotel breakfast. What's the food that you're most looking forward to trying in the US? Like, what's the meal that you can't wait to eat?
Okay, burger and pizza.
Burger and pizza. Yeah. Have you done that yet? Have you gotten a burger and pizza?
Honestly, I was busy, so busy when I came here because like I was not like we missed our sleep in the airplane, and like so that's why when I came here, I just started sleeping.
Well, you're in Dallas. You're in a good place to get a burger. I'm sure you can get a really good burger in Dallas. A lot of people are going to tell you that Whataburger is what you should try. I'm going to argue that it's In-N-Out. I'm sure I've just lost a lot of people who listen are up in arms claiming that Whataburger is better, but I will go to my grave claiming it's In-N-Out burger. But both of those are in Texas, and they're great burgers. They're actually both fantastic burgers. But you're in a great spot for hamburgers. Not maybe the best place for pizza. If you want pizza, you should come to a place like New York or New Haven, Connecticut.
I tried in Washington airport to buy a pizza for myself. So when I went to there, the shop was closed. So yeah.
Well, thankfully pizza is everywhere in the United States. And so, but if you want really good pizza, I'm telling you, I'm biased. I'm from New York. I would say the best pizza in the country. So either from New York or, honestly speaking, probably New Haven, Connecticut. Their style of pizza is called Apizza. But anyway, we're going way too in depth now on pizza. Your wife is here now. How is she doing? Is she adjusting well? Is she excited to be here?
Yeah, she's good and she's doing well. Yeah, she's excited to be here, and also she's happy for myself as well. So that's what the most reason is, because I am safe here and like happy. And when I ask her how you like feeling here, she said like, okay, I'm good. Yeah, I'm happy, and mostly I'm happy for you because you're safe here. And when we were in Afghanistan, you were like talking every day. When I will go, when I will stay, when I will my visa will come.
Yeah.
We were waiting hard there, like every day, every minute. So we were just counting, like, like I was checking like email like 10 times, like 50 times in the day.
Yeah, I know. I mean, because you're looking for that ticket to for the rest of your life. You're looking for that, literally that lifeline.
Yeah.
And you got it. So look, I got a couple of pieces of advice for you, because I've seen a lot of Afghans come to the United States. If your wife doesn't speak English, you got to make sure she learns how to. Okay. And the piece of advice I give everybody is, God forbid something happens to you, she needs to be able to talk to people to get you and her help. Right. Yeah. So make sure she gets English classes. Okay. Make sure that you guys find a community around you that you can become a part of, because you don't want to be here alone. Well, you're not alone. I mean, you've got me, you've got your advisors, you've got, all of your fellow wartime allies, you're part of our greater tribe. But in Dallas, make sure you find, other folks to help you. Okay. Because America can be overwhelming at times, even for an American. And it's always, good to have friends.
Thank you for your advice. Yes, like one thing I just forgot to tell you, like when I came to the airplane and also we went land to the Washington DC, the airport, so the every people were like welcome to the United States. They were so nice with us. And here, like around in Dallas, in Texas, or also from the Washington to Dallas, the flight, I had like my Afghani clothes. So everyone like asking, "Oh, welcome to the United States, and we are happy for you." They were like so nice. They just like when we heard this one, like we would like feel happy and confident. Okay, that's like nice people, and they will help us. Yeah, so good.
I can't think of a better way maybe than to end this interview by saying what they've said, which is welcome home. We're so glad you're here, brother, and we've got your back. You had ours, and now we've got yours.
Yeah, I also and thank you so much. I truly appreciate your hard work, like your time, your attention here. I couldn't imagine how to we will do for you guys, because you do a lot for us here in Afghanistan when we they were there waiting for visa. So you did a lot. So we don't know how we will do for you today.
I can tell you exactly what you can do for us. Live your life, be happy, have children. Okay. And know that you have your home, that this is your country as much as it is mine. Thank you so much. That we are so honored that you served our country, and that you are here now safely. And it's a real privilege to be able to speak with you today, Usman. Thanks for coming on the Wartime Allies podcast. It's been an honor to have you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time, for your work, your attention, and anyone in the Afghanistan. They're just waiting for for visa, and they are truly appreciate from you. I know you. I was watching your posts in Facebook and your comments, your interview with the TVs, with the other this Congress man woman. So we should be, and we must be, and we are truly appreciate your work.
Well, I appreciate everything that you've all done for our country. I love all of you deeply and dearly. And this is honestly it's these interviews that I look forward to the most, because you're the living embodiment of a promise kept and all that hard work, paying off. So it's a deep honor and privilege to speak with you, Usman. Thanks for coming on today. I really enjoyed talking to you.
I'm so happy to talk to you. Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed the interview with Usman. Normally, Janice and I do this segment. Unfortunately, Janice has got some family things going on. We'll talk about it later in a different episode. It's probably something we will be sharing. But for now, you got me. And, it's been a couple of weeks since we've done an episode. We took a 2-week hiatus. And in that time, Afghanistan has seemingly collapsed. The Taliban now control 12 of Afghanistan's provinces. As of today, Thursday, August the 12th, they took the cities of Kandahar, Herat, and my beloved Ghazni, where I served as an embedded combat advisor in 2008. The Association of Wartime Allies is tracking that there are over 700 people in Kandahar, over 500 people in Herat. And then when you add up the other provinces that the Taliban have seized in just the last week alone, the number of wartime allies that we fear are now trapped behind enemy lines is in excess of around 2,000 people. When the Taliban took the border crossing of Spin Boldak, which is a border crossing that's on the border of Afghanistan and Pakistan, about 3 weeks ago, as soon as they consolidated control of the city, they then went door to door, looking for anyone who had worked either for the U.S. military, with the U.S. military or the U.S. government, and anybody who is an Afghan government official. If they were able to find these people and identify them as such, they pulled them from their homes and they executed them along with their entire families. We fear that this is going to be replicated now, city by city, where the Taliban have taken control. That border crossing in Spin Boldak was actually the turning point. It was a critical moment because in seizing it, it allowed the Taliban to now have an unfettered flow of fighters and weapons that are streaming in from Pakistan, from the tribal areas around Quetta. This reserve army is being sent into Afghanistan seemingly with the support of the Pakistani military and the Pakistani intelligence services. And they're fighting a broad-scale war of attrition. Their goal is simple: wear down the Afghan military everywhere. They understand that they'll lose a lot of fighters, and they have thus far along the way. The Afghan military, in some cases, have really made the Taliban suffer some serious losses. But the Taliban don't care. Their goal is to outbleed the Afghans, just as it was to outbleed us. Because they know that eventually they'll kill, while the Taliban will suffer their own losses, they will also extract their own toll on the Afghans. And that there isn't a reserve army waiting for the Afghans. We were their reserve army, and we're gone. Unfortunately, Afghans themselves are also seeing the writing on the wall, and there are many cases where military units are simply switching sides or just, giving up and going home without a fight. The Afghan military can't fight the Taliban everywhere, and that seems to be where the Taliban has chosen to engage the Afghans. In the last week alone, the Afghan military has seemingly collapsed in the north, in the west, in the south, which now leaves the road to Kabul wide open and only the east standing as the last bastion of safety. Interestingly, the true Taliban special forces, the Haqqani Taliban, who are the ones who are most often responsible for large-scale assaults and suicide bombings. And, you think of all the horrific urban disasters that you've heard about in Afghanistan and its major cities over the last decade or so. Those are usually the Haqqanis. They have yet to be engaged, and that makes me very concerned. Unfortunately, the other thing that the Taliban have begun to do is they've begun to assassinate the pilots who fly Afghanistan's nascent air force. We've already told you about the fact that they've bought surface-to-air missiles from Russia and China and have publicly said that they intend to use them on Afghanistan's air force once we leave. The Afghan air force is the only strategic advantage that they have over the Taliban on the battlefield right now. The Taliban do not have an air force other than some drones of their own. The Afghans, however, have helicopters and a modern version of P-51 Mustangs, which were fighter pilot, fighters from World War II. There's modern versions of that the Afghans now have. Once those are shot out of the sky, because the Taliban surface-to-air missiles will absolutely make short work of the limited aircraft that the Afghans have, at that point, that's it. Nothing will stand in the way of the Taliban from taking Kabul. The U.S. intelligence community, I guess, gave an assessment to the president that was leaked a couple of days ago, in which they updated their belief that Kabul could fall within a matter as early as 30 days. But with the fall of Kandahar and Herat and Ghazni as of just today, and the encirclement of Mazar-e-Sharif in the north as of yesterday, it's clear that Kabul might fall within a matter of days. And that is truly frightening, because as we've told you before, Afghanistan is completely infenced by its neighbors. There are millions of people in Kabul, literally millions of people in Kabul, who are in threat and in jeopardy if the Taliban take over. They have nowhere to go. And the Taliban have made it abundantly clear that they intend to extract a serious and bloody and brutal toll on anyone who they feel is worthy of their evil, which, the list now seems to include women, poets, musicians, politicians, human rights advocates, not just, the wartime allies that we've been so desperate to, evacuate, but seemingly anybody who stands in the way of their abhorrent ideology and their perverse worldview. It's hard talking about all this, because those of us who've served in Afghanistan, I always argue there are two types of people who come home. There's, the first type of person comes back and they say, well, that was interesting, but it just wasn't for me. And the second type of person comes back and they left a piece of their soul over there. And they brought home a part of Afghanistan with them in their blood. I'm of the latter. The Afghan people took me in as a guest in their country and made me feel so welcome that I felt like I was one of their own. I looked them in the eye and made them a promise and told them that America doesn't abandon its friends to be murdered by its enemies. And yet that's seemingly what we're doing. The Biden administration announced today, as I was waiting to go on air with MSNBC, I watched the press conference live from the State Department, in which they announced that there is a possibility that we'll be moving our embassy from the embassy grounds itself to the airport in Kabul. They've announced that we're sending back in 3,000 forces to help secure the airport in Kabul and facilitate the drawdown of the U.S. diplomatic presence in Kabul, as well as any American citizens who need to get out. And I guess they're also going to be helping whatever special immigrant visa applicants we can evacuate. Again, seemingly only from Kabul. Still no plan announced by the administration on how we're going to get people who are outside of Kabul out of the country. When the Biden administration inherited office, there were only 2,500 total troops in Afghanistan, and now they're sending in 3,000 just to secure the evacuation of Kabul. This is what losing looks like. And I just wish they would be honest with us, because the press conferences they held today seemed so disengaged from the reality on the ground. It feels like the government is trying to fight the Taliban through, scolded, through press statements with scolding in, words. Like, harsh words are not going to stop them. Sometimes in order to defend and protect human rights, you need to do it at the point of a gun. And I fear that we're at that moment. When a war ends, there are two questions that loom large. Was it worth it? And how did you end it? History gets to answer the former. Only we, however, get to answer the latter. And we're ending this war with profound shame. There is no honor in this exit. I fear that when we leave Afghanistan for good, we're going to do so in the middle of the night and not tell anybody, just like we did at Bagram. The Biden administration has said, privately to anyone, who's been involved in this advocacy mission, what we've been told for a long time now is that the thing that they've feared the most is a chaotic evacuation. Well, in failing to actually take care of these people when we could have, which was just a couple of months ago before the Taliban had taken over. Again, imagine if, just in February or March, when we still had troops in place and all these bases that we controlled, if we had just started moving people then and had done so over the last couple of months, like those of us who have been fighting to do this had recommended back then, we would have gotten these people out quietly. And by the time it was over, even if the Taliban had begun to launch this assault, we wouldn't have to worry about the slaughter of at least these individuals, the ones that we made a fundamental promise to, who are first in line for the Taliban's retribution. No, instead, the Biden administration chose to do nothing and left it to the 11th hour. And in so doing, have now created the very thing that they were most afraid of, a chaotic evacuation. I can't think of anything more chaotic. We have told the Afghans that if they want any chance of living, they have to get to one airport in the capital. What happens in the next couple of weeks when every Afghan in Kabul tries to get onto the airport? The Biden administration has been so afraid of the idea of this image of a helicopter. The president said it, there's not going to be a helicopter that lifts off of the embassy in desperation, as the Taliban sweep over Kabul. Well, it seems now that very much could be the case, that the Taliban could sweep over Kabul, but he is right. You won't have an image of a helicopter lifting off of the embassy. And it's not just because the embassy might be closed and moved to the airport before that could transpire. No, the reason why is because, and this is what people I can't believe that people don't understand this or fail to get the importance of this. In Vietnam, that image in Saigon that everyone knows, that everyone is referencing in this, that helicopter, which by the way was not lifting off of the rooftop of the embassy, it was lifting off of the rooftop of the CIA station, which was next to the embassy. That helicopter didn't fly to the airport because by that point, the North Vietnamese had cratered the airport's runway, so there weren't planes that could land there. No, that helicopter flew to an aircraft carrier that was waiting off the coast of South Vietnam, up the coast of Saigon. And that's the thing about the Vietnamese evacuation. It wasn't planned. It happened in the last moments of the war because Americans on the ground, often in complete disregard of the orders and the instructions of their superiors, did what they felt was necessary to try to save as many lives as possible. And they were fortunate in that they had an ocean and boats that they could work with, because most of the people that we evacuated were on the docks at Saigon. And those helicopters that everyone talks about that they don't want to replicate now in Afghanistan, those helicopters had ships they could fly to. There won't be helicopters in Afghanistan because there's no boats, because Afghanistan is a landlocked country. The nearest sea is thousands of miles away. Not thousands, a couple hundred miles away, but too far for a helicopter to fly. All right. No, the only people who are going to get out are people who can get on planes at the airport in Kabul. And let's make this abundantly clear. The Canadians have now announced they're closing their embassy. As of me recording this podcast, I just got an alert on my phone. The Turks have announced that they're closing their embassy, and that's really critical because the Turkish embassy in Afghanistan is right next to the presidential palace. there is probably no more fortified or secure of an embassy in Afghanistan, with the exception of maybe the American and British embassies, than the Turkish embassy. If the Turks are truly leaving Afghanistan, which seems to be the case, that's a big deal because the Turkish military is the one that currently guard the airport in Kabul. And all we've said is that we're sending in 3,000 troops to secure our withdrawal, to secure the American, drawdown, and help with the remaining evacuation of eligible SIVs in Kabul. No end date on that mission. I hope it lasts until we literally truly get everyone out. But my fear is that they have a pre-selected number of people that they've decided those are the folks that they've played God, and they've decided these are the people who are going to live, and everyone else is just sort of good luck to you. If that truly is the case, if my suspicions are and my fears are correct, what that means is it'll be a matter of weeks before this mission ends, and then the U.S. military will finally leave Afghanistan. And the Turks have made it clear that if we leave, they're going to. And once the Turkish military leaves, there will be no international security presence guarding the airport in Kabul, and that will be the nanosecond upon which flights to Afghanistan will cease, and there will be no pipeline, no means for these people to make their escape. We still can save these people. I know I sound like I must sound crazy at this point, hopelessly, naive and optimistic, but that is the reality. We have the Air Force, we have the personnel, we have the riches, we have the power and the might. What we lack now, and it's clear we probably have lacked it all along, is the courage and conviction to do the right thing. If you're an Afghan or Iraq war veteran, you got to be hurting. I can tell, I can feel it. And when I say veteran, I don't just mean military. I mean frontline civilians as well, the diplomats, the aid workers. We were all one team, one fight. Didn't matter if you were wearing a camouflage uniform like myself or a suit working at the embassy. We all served this difficult mission, and most of us walked away with a profound sense of an obligation to these people. I know I'm hurting. Reach out to your friends. Tell them you're hurting. Talk to someone. Don't bottle this up inside. I've been warned time and time again by Vietnam veterans that what comes next is a profound moral injury. And they've told me to look out for friends of mine who might think of harming themselves. So if anyone's listening to this and you've got, thoughts of harming yourself, I'd ask that you call, the proper hotline, the suicide hotline, or you can dial the Veterans Help Hotline. You just Google it. So again, if you're thinking, if you feel like you might be intending to harm yourself, if this is just difficult, you need to just talk to somebody. The number is 800-273-8255. Again, that's 800-273-8255. This is difficult. It's most difficult for our Afghan wartime allies who are now suffering the profound consequences of our failure. I hope that they can forgive us. I hope that future generations of Americans who are going to suffer the consequences of us having failed to keep this promise can forgive us. Most importantly, I hope that while it might be the 11th hour, the clock has yet to strike midnight. There is still time. These people are not dead yet. We can still save them. But I don't know if we're going to do it. Next week, we're going to be talking to some folks stuck behind in Afghanistan. We're going to be doing our best to actually reach people who are currently held under Taliban captivity, not imprisonment, but are in cities that the Taliban now control. We ask that you continue to keep tuning in. We want you to get involved. We ask that you now contact your member of Congress and the president and express your outrage that we've allowed this to occur. There is going to be a reckoning for this. I guarantee you, folks, we need to get to the bottom of this. We need to find out why we allowed this to happen? Why did these people get left behind to die? That needs to be answered. And I hope you'll join me in calling upon our government to have to answer that question, because we need to make sure that this never happens again. Because unfortunately, what I am now realizing is that the Vietnam vets were right. They said it happened in their war and they were afraid it was going to happen in mine. History is not guaranteed to repeat itself. It can change. History is made by people who show up. Keep showing up. We're going to keep making history. We have not finished this mission. The story has not had its ending written. There is still time. Keep fighting, folks. And for our Afghan brothers and sisters and our Iraqi brothers and sisters listening, America, while the government might have forgotten you, American people have not. We're going to keep fighting for you. Never count us out. We hope you join us next time. Thanks for tuning in.
Wartime Allies, a podcast brought to you by Brothers in Arms Productions. Follow us on Twitter at Wartime Allies, on Instagram at Wartime Allies, on YouTube at Wartime Allies, and on Facebook at Wartime Allies. We can save these people. We just have to have the courage and conviction to do the right thing. History is made by those who show up. We'll hope you'll show up and help us save them.